Comer's with us. James Comer, let's start with you and say, okay, so you have been in touch with 4 people on his staff and his doctor. What is the status of that? And are you planning on calling a lot more people?
Yes, but to answer your first question, we've had communication for over a week now with their attorneys. We notified the 4 staffers and Dr. O'Connor 10 days ago. We've made rapid progress in 10 days. You have to give them an opportunity to come in voluntarily. You have to give them an opportunity to hire an attorney, or in other words, due process. They've hired attorneys. Our staff attorneys have been communicating with their attorneys. I'm very pleased to announce tonight that I expect a date to be announced very soon where every staffer will be coming forward and answering questions voluntarily by our committee. If for some reason they backtrack in the next 24 hours, then they will receive a subpoena, and they know that. With Dr. O'Connor, we have a call tomorrow with his attorneys. I expect the same from Dr. O'Connor. So this investigation is moving at a rapid pace, Sean, and you know that there's been a ton of information that's come out in the last 7 days from eyewitness accounts, the tell-all books, the Tapper book, people like Buttigieg, interviews that have surfaced where Joe Biden didn't know about executive orders he just signed. So this investigation, I think, is going to move at a pace that we're very pleased to see for a congressional investigation.
You said on this program that these people are lawyered up at this particular time. Have you had conversations with their lawyers? Will these people be under oath for these transcriptions?
Yes, if they come in voluntarily, they will have to sit down for interviews. The way a congressional transcribed interview goes, the majority party, which of course is the Republicans, will have an hour to ask questions. Every member on the House Oversight Committee who wants to participate in that will participate in that, along with our attorneys, and the Democrats get an hour. We'll rotate back and forth until we ask all the questions. These are very substantive. If you lie to Congress, that's a felony. If they had come in with a subpoena, then that'll be a deposition, which is a little more formal. But either way, if they say something that's not true, that's a felony, and they will be referred criminally to Pam Bondi at the Department of Justice. They know that. That's why they've hired, it looks to me like pretty big-time attorneys to come in. And now I can say tonight on your show, Sean, that we're moving on to the next batch of people that we've identified that would have some responsibility of the auto pen. The amount of information that's coming in is very rapid. And with this investigation versus the last Biden influence peddling investigation, we haven't thus far faced a weaponized left-wing media, because I think the left-wing media knows that this was a cover-up. And I think there's a little bit of curiosity now as to who was actually running the country.
What about Josh Hawley suggesting on this show that, in fact, Secret Service agents said that Joe Biden was getting lost in his own closet? Is that going to be investigated? Will those
Absolutely.
Secret Service agents be asked?
Absolutely. We're starting with these staffers that we know are the ones who manually put the documents in the auto pen and pressed the power button to sign Joe Biden's signature. We want to know who told them to do what and when. We want to know that Joe Biden actually gave the authority to do that Joe Biden was cognitively aware of what he was doing. If he even told them to use the auto pen, that's why we're bringing in Dr. O'Connor. We all know that Dr. O'Connor continuously issued reports saying Joe Biden was a picture of health. Everyone in America knows that wasn't true. We saw that in the debate. And as more information comes forward, Dr. O'Connor is going to have a hard time explaining these brilliant reports of health that he was issuing on Joe Biden when he was president.
How high up, in terms of the people in the higher positions of power in the Biden White House, do you think you will go? And will you bring in the family members? Will you bring in Dr. Jill Biden? Will you bring in Hunter Biden? Will you bring in Jim Biden?
If they're implicated as to having any part in the decision-making process of using the auto pen, then yes, they will be brought in. I can tell you with confidence, people like Ron Klain will be asked to come in before our committee. We're moving at a rapid pace. We feel confident that the negotiations with the first 4 staffers, as well as Dr. O'Connor, have gone well enough to where we can start the process of initiating the next batch of employees. And we're going to follow the trail, just like we followed the money trail in the Biden influence peddling investigation. We're going to follow the trail of who said what and when with respect to the auto pen, because the amount of executive orders that were signed in the last 90 days of the Biden presidency is breathtaking. I don't think the average American realizes how much activity there was in this White House at a time when almost every American now realizes that Joe Biden was completely checked out. And you're having executive orders that many of which, Sean, were used to Trump-proof this administration, making it harder for Donald Trump to fulfill his commitment, to fulfill his agenda, because he's getting, having to fight in court against all these executive orders that were signed by the auto pen. So this should be an investigation I think every American is going to be interested in. And this time, I think that everyone in America is going to step back and allow the Oversight Committee to be able to ask these questions, because everybody wants to know the answers. They know something bad was going on in the White House. They just don't know who was actually calling the shots.